Don't forget to like, subscribe and share the videos.
Hello all, welcome to Ganesh IAS Academy. This is the special session exclusively for the upcoming mains exam. Here we will discuss about what are the key terminologies the UPSC mains will use. Okay, and also we will discuss if the terminologies like discuss or critically examine, what the things you have to write. Okay, so these are the specific things we will discuss. More than answer parts, it is about the sharing the knowledge, how to approach the mains question, and also what are the subheadings you have to use, and also how to present the answer. Okay, so all these things will be discussed here. So let's begin the session. Okay, so this is the question asked in 2018. It's a 15-mark question. So first of all, you have to do is you have to find the certain keywords from the questions. You have to address every keywords of that question. That is the first and foremost important part. And also you have to know about what are the terminologies the UPSC mains question is having. First is they simply use the terminology as how. Okay, so when it comes to how or what or define or explain briefly, it is one of the easy questions. When it comes to the terms like critically examine, do you agree, command, opinion, this is somewhat typical question. We will discuss that, okay, in the upcoming sessions. So here the first is how. Next, the recent phenomenon of productionism. This is the first keyword. So you should know that what is productionism. That is the first and foremost thing. Next, currency manipulation. You should know what is currency manipulation and how the government will do that. That is also important part, you have to address it. In world trade affect the macroeconomic stability of India. So next and foremost thing is macroeconomic stability. So it is about the macroeconomic stability. So these are the three keywords you should address in this question. See, when it comes to the UPSC mains, if it is the maximum mark they is going to award us for 15 mark, means the maximum mark they will give us around 7 or 7.5. Okay, so you have, if you want to get the 7.5 means the question should address every single things of that. Okay, your answer should address every single things of the questions. So first is what is productionism, and then what is currency manipulation, and how it is affect the macroeconomic stability of India. And it should have introduction, okay, and also it should have a conclusion, and there should be a flow, and the structure of answer should be in a neat manner. So if it is contains everything means, then you will get this maximum mark of 7.5, or else you will end up at around 4 mark or 5 mark or 4.5. This is the average mark you will get. So first and foremost, the most important thing is to try to address everything in that question. That is the first important thing. And also you have to know that every term's meaning. Without knowing that, you can't address a question. So what the examiner first do is he will check the intro, whether it is a good intro or okay level intro, or it is a best intro. Next, the examiner will do is the body of the answer, whether it is in the flow. That body of the answer address every single points of this question. Okay, and then he will examine the conclusion part. The conclusion should be somewhat positive one. Okay, so even though it is a worst possible negative question, consider that it is a climate change issue or a landslide disaster, anything, you try to address that question and try to conclude the question in a somewhat positive manner. That is the most important thing. So this is the flow of the answer you should have to follow. In this, if it is, you give a OK level intro and then OK level of conclusion, but the body of the answer is good. So what they will do is they will give you around 6.5 mark or 7 mark, okay, but you will lose that half mark. So first and foremost, you should have certain template intros and template conclusion before you are going to this exam. That is the first and foremost thing, because you can't think at that time period of that exam about the what the intro I have to give, what the conclusion I have to give. You only have to think about the body part of the answer. So you try to have certain template intros, template conclusion. That is the best way. In my point of view, what I will do is I usually have this STG goals. That is the template thing, and also I will have certain reports of IMF, World Bank. So these are the certain template thing. You just mug up it and just you quote it on the intro or else in the conclusion based on the question's need. That is the thing you have to follow. And also for this question, that is the benefit is, it is about the protectionism and the currency manipulation that affect the macroeconomic stability. So how the currency manipulation and then protectionism affecting this macroeconomic stability, that is the question is all about. So first you have to know about what is macroeconomic stability. Without knowing what is macroeconomic stability, you can't answer the body of the answer. The thing is, the body of that answer should have what is the macroeconomic stability and how it is affecting that. So the body of the letter should know that. For that you need to know what is this macroeconomic stability. If you are clearing the prelims and you are getting into the mains, means you definitely know that what is macroeconomic stability. It is nothing but it's about inflation, employment data, investments, and then the monetary policies, fiscal policies. So international trades, these are the things are connected to the macroeconomic phenomena. So you should list that, like inflation, investment, trade in the international arena, etc. Okay, so in the brainstorming itself you have to create all this thing. Next, you should know that what is protectionism. So protectionism is nothing but it is promoting the domestic country's trade by the way of tariff and non-tariff phenomena. By using the tariff and non-tariff phenomena, you are restricting the global trade and you are trying to protect the domestic trade. You try to increases the export and you are trying to reduces the import by the way of tariff and non-tariff phenomena. Okay, so consider that the tariff. In the tariff method, what you will do is you will put the certain customs duty on certain imported goods. By the way, you will reduces the import of certain goods. For non-tariff things, you can say that based on the quality, you will restrict certain things. Recently, European country did that. Okay, what they did is they restricted the import of the mangoes from India based on the claimers. It is more India is using more chemical fertilizers in that cultivation of the mango, so we are restricting it based on the quality phenomena. It is a non-tariff barrier. So that is also one kind of protectionist measure. So what they will do is, in the meantime, they will try to increase the production of the mango in their domestic territory. So this is all about the protectionism. So you should know that what is protectionism is. Next, currency manipulation. If you are aware of the economic concept, means you will know that if I am going to depreciate my currency, okay, which means I am devaluating my currency, then it will increases the export and reduces the imports. So devaluation leads to increases in the export, at the same time decreases in the import. Okay, so this is the method is called as currency manipulation. By the way, you are trying to increases your export, at the same time you are reducing the imports. So in the both the thing, what you are doing is you are trying to restrict the international trade pattern and you are trying to increases the domestic production. Okay, so the question is, now you can easily understand the what the question is asking. How would the recent phenomenon of protectionism and the currency manipulation in the world trade affect the macroeconomic stability of the India? Which means the protectionism policy followed by the other foreign countries, foreign nations, or else the currency manipulation trick followed by the other countries, how it is affect the macroeconomic stability of India? This is the question that is asked. Okay, so if you know all this thing and you have to do this brainstorming within 10 to 15 seconds itself, you have to think all this thing, then only you can answer this question. So now you have to address this question with the intro. The intro can be like, what is protectionism? Or else, okay, at the same time it is a what is currency manipulation. Within a 3 to 4 line you can say about what is protectionism and what is currency manipulation, or else you can put a different kind of intro, like you can say about the things like how the India's macroeconomy is affected. You can quote that the inflation of India skyrocketed due to the protectionism. The RBI said it. According to the RBI data, according to the MPC, according to the CPI report, the India's inflation is skyrocketed, and the RBI quoted the reason is due to the global phenomenon of the protectionism. You can say that itself you can quote it as an intro. Okay, if you find something monotonous like why I am going to give a definition in the intro, if you have that kind of thought, means you can quote that thing also. Or else if it is a IMF said anything about this protectionism or currency manipulation, which are the countries that are doing that, okay, so you can easily quote that also. So intro is nothing but it should give certain insight toward the question, but at the same time it should connect it to the flow of the answer. That is the most important thing. So it's better up to you. But here what I will do is, if I am going to write this exam, means going to write this question is, then I will give the what is protectionism and what is currency manipulation. This is the simple thing I will do. Next, you have to address the thing of how would the recent phenomenon of protectionism and the currency manipulation in the world trade affect the macroeconomic stability. You can list it like this. First is inflation, employment, and then monetary policy, fiscal policy, international trade, investments. Okay, so by the way you can set that, and you can say that how the currency manipulation and the protectionism trends affect this thing. You can say it as, if the country is doing the protectionism and currency manipulation, means what they are doing is they are devaluing their currencies, and by the way they are increasing their exports and reducing their imports. If they are going to do that, means what it will lead to is India's export of the things, India's export will be affected. So India's export will be reduced. This is the first thing you can say. Okay, so first is international, how this protectionism and the currency manipulation affecting the India in the international trade is, it will affect the export of the goods. Simple as that. Next, employment. When it comes to the employment, if there is the export of the goods are affected, means then that will lead to the reduction in the production process. So that will lead to the unemployment crisis. So it will lead to the unemployment. You have to address this thing. And also, if you have a better data like recent report of NSSO, okay, so or else CMIE, okay, or else PMI data, okay, if you have any data of this kind, means if you going to quote that and quote it in this answer, means it will enrich your answer, then you will get extra marks. Okay, so that is the most important thing, you have to do that. So how it is affecting the employment scenario, it is leading to the unemployment crisis. You have to say that. Next, inflation. How it is affecting the inflation, that is also you have to say. Consider that the same thing is followed by India. Okay, India is imposing certain tariff and non-tariff barriers, or else they are doing the currency manipulation, means then that is definitely leads to the inflation. How the inflation will happen, means if they are going to restrict the trade, at that scenario the import of certain essential goods will be reduced, or else import of certain raw materials will be reduced. By the way, the production process will be affected. By the way, it will lead to the reduced product in the market, so that will lead to the inflation. Okay, so this is the way you have to try to answer it. And also the investment scenario. If it is the country is continuously devaluating and they are trying to increases the export, then what the country will do is, what the investor will do is, they will invest their money on that country only, because they are going to increases their production, they are focusing on that. So in that scenario, if they are going to invest on that country, that will lead to the more profit for the investor. So capital flight, you can quote this term called as capital flight, which means the investments are moving away from India. You try to use these kinds of terms in the mains exam, it will enrich your answer. That will lead to the extra marks. Capital flight. Next, so when there is these kinds of issue, means obviously there will be certain need for the changes in the taxation. At the same time, we have to do the monetary policy meetings. So that are the things also the government have to do that, and the RBI have to do that. So this is the way you have to try to answer. So this is more important. And also, when some of the aspirants will answer it like in the first page full of it will be like what is currency manipulation, okay, and they will write everything like devaluation, that is leads to the increases in the export, and also that is leads to the reduction in the import. Okay, so in this way they will fully cover the one pages, and the answer will start from the next page. Then there will be reduced mark. The question is more specific about how it is affecting the macroeconomic stability. So that should be the major part. If it is around 2.5 pages, means in that 1.5 pages should be covered with all the answers only, body of the answers. The intro part should be more limited. So what is protectionism, what is currency manipulation, you just limit it. within a half a page or even a 3/4 of the page. Try to limit it and then answer it. That is the most important thing. Okay, so you have to give the more weightages to the body of the answer only. Don't try to expand the introduction part. That is the most important thing. At last, you have to speak about the conclusion. So conclusion, you can say that this protectionist trend will affect the global trade practices. So there are many organizations like IMF, World Bank, OECD. So these are the certain organisms. They have to come into play and they have tried to avoid this thing to recommend every nation. You can say. And also, if there is a more protectionism policy, means that will at the end of the day that is going to affect the production process only. So it is better the country should avoid this, or else you can quote this term, currency war. Consider that India is devaluing their currency. So US is trying to devalue the currency. So by the way, the China is going to devalue the currency. So everyone trying to devalue their currency. So this is called as currency war. This will lead to the currency war. So it's better to be avoided. So this is the way you have to try to give the holistic answer. Try to use more economic terms in the mains. That is the most important thing. What I'm saying is, you use the economic terms, at the same time it should be explanative. Not only use the terms only, but you try to explain that. That is the most important thing. So this is the way your answer should be, and this is the flow you have to follow. So these are the most important things you have to do that. Okay, so we will discuss the next question in the next session. Thank you.